The news hit me like sunlight through a shattered window, bright, sharp, and impossible to ignore. One moment I was standing in the quiet courtyard outside the small community library, clutching a stack of resumes I had planned to drop off at nearby offices. The next moment, the woman I once believed I'd spend forever with stood in front of me with trembling eyes, one hand resting gently on her stomach. Her lips barely moved, but the words that escaped them punched through the air. "The baby in my belly is yours. You'll be a father." My chest tightened, my heart lurched, and the world around me blurred at the edges. I felt everything at once: fear, hope, confusion, responsibility, love so old it still lived inside me like an echo. I swallowed hard, steadied myself, and whispered back, "Then, will we get married?" But she shook her head. "Before we go deeper, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Touch of Kindness. Your support helps us continue creating stories that bring hearts closer." I hadn't seen Maren in almost 7 months. 7 months since our last argument in that dim, cramped apartment we once shared. 7 months since she walked out while I sat on the couch, staring at the unpaid rent notice, my pride bruised and my hopes slipping. Back then, everything felt endlessly heavy. My job at the furniture factory had collapsed overnight with sudden layoffs. My mother had fallen ill and needed expensive medication. My savings drained like water through broken fingers. I became a version of myself even I didn't want to meet in the mirror, quick to snap, slow to express love, constantly tired, constantly afraid. And although she tried, although she stayed as long as she could, I didn't hold her delicately enough. When she finally left, I told myself it was for the best. I told myself she deserved better than the man I had become. Yet here she stood, under a bright daytime sky with sunlight, painting soft halos around her auburn hair. She looked stronger than before, calmer somehow, like she had discovered parts of herself I always hoped she'd find. But she also looked scared, and scars of the past lingered in her eyes as though she didn't know if she had done the right thing by coming back. She didn't answer my question about marriage. Instead, she looked down, fingers tightening on her bag. She explained that she had tried to call me many times, but my number changed when I could no longer afford the old plan. She had debated coming here, unsure if I wanted her in my life again, unsure if telling me would bring help or only complicate her world. But when she felt the baby's first flutter, she realized she could not carry the weight of this secret any longer. She said she didn't want money. She didn't want pity. She just wanted the truth to be spoken between us. Hearing all this, I felt something shift inside me, something raw and tender. My palms grew damp. My voice was unsteady as I told her I wanted to be involved, that even if the past was filled with mistakes, I could not turn away from this. But Maren stepped back, her expression tightening with uncertainty. She said she feared my life was still unstable. She feared I might disappear again when things got hard. She feared repeating the old cycles, and so she hesitated when I asked about marriage, not because she didn't want a family, but because she wasn't sure she could survive another shattering. I watched her walk away that afternoon, moving slowly across the sunlit pavement, and something inside me cracked wide open. I didn't chase after her, not because I didn't want to, but because I knew rushing toward her without becoming a better man first would do more harm than good. So I made a quiet promise right there. I would rebuild myself not to impress her, not out of desperation, but because my child deserved a father who could stand tall without shaking. The next weeks were brutal. The economy was tight, jobs were scarce, and every rejection email felt like a stone thrown at my ribs. But I kept pushing. I woke up early every morning to sweep yards, wash cars, carry boxes, whatever small labor anyone offered. By afternoon I knocked on doors, asking if anyone needed help painting walls, trimming gardens, or fixing fences. By nights, I studied free online certifications in basic carpentry and HVAC repair, using the borrowed tablet my neighbor kindly lent me. Daytime sun became my companion as I walked across town with calloused hands and aching feet, refusing to give up. And slowly, incredibly slowly, things began to change. A retired contractor named Mr. Halleman noticed my persistence and hired me to assist with small home renovation projects. He paid modestly, but he paid consistently, and he taught me skills I never dreamed I could master. With each passing week, I felt myself regaining not just financial stability, but dignity. My face softened, my anger faded, my body felt lighter. I smiled more, laughed more, breathed easier. But every night, when the world fell quiet, I wondered how Maren was doing. I wondered if the baby kicked. I wondered if she was scared or lonely. I wondered if she still thought of me. I saved every spare rupee, telling myself it was for the future, though deep inside I knew exactly what that future looked like. A small home, a crib by the window, soft laughter filling a space once filled with silence. Then one late morning, after finishing a roofing job, I received a message from an unknown number. My heart leapt the moment I saw her name. She asked if I could meet her at the public park near the river, the place we once spent lazy spring afternoons watching boats glide along shimmering water. I arrived early, sitting on a bench beneath a sprawling oak tree, hands trembling more than I wanted to admit. When she walked toward me, her belly gently rounded, her steps slow yet graceful, I stood up too quickly and nearly lost my balance. She smiled faintly at my clumsy attempt to look composed, and something warm flickered between us. She said she had been watching me from afar. She said she heard from a neighbor that I had been working tirelessly. She said she learned from my mother that I had been saving, rebuilding, growing. And then, after a long silence, she said she felt calmer now, less afraid, more hopeful. She admitted she wanted the baby to know its father. She wanted connection, unity, safety. She wanted the child to grow in a home filled with love instead of fear. Her voice trembled as she confessed she still cared for me, that she never truly stopped, but she needed to believe that the version of me standing before her wasn't temporary, wasn't fragile, wasn't a man who would crumble under pressure. I felt tears burn my eyes as I told her the truth, that I was not perfect, that I might never be perfect, but the man I was becoming now, that man wanted nothing more than to hold both her and our child with the gentlest parts of his soul. The wind rustled through the trees as she placed my hand on her belly for the first time. I expected nothing. I was prepared for stillness, but then, softly, a flutter brushed against my palm, like a tiny heartbeat saying hello. My breath caught, my knees weakened, and my vision blurred with emotion so overwhelming it nearly dropped me to the ground. In that exact moment, everything in my life gained clarity. I wasn't just rebuilding myself for a vague future. I was rebuilding myself for this small, precious life growing beneath her skin, and for the woman who carried it. We didn't rush into marriage, not immediately. Instead, we began with healing. We spent afternoons walking through city markets, talking about expectations, fears, dreams. We spent mornings in the clinic together, listening to the baby's heartbeat echo like a promise. We spent evenings in my freshly repaired apartment, cooking simple meals and feeling the home warm around us. And gradually, day by day, love returned. Not the fiery, impulsive love of the past, but a gentler, sturdier, deeper kind. One morning, under a bright sky painted with soft clouds, Maren surprised me by placing a tiny pair of baby shoes in my hand. When I looked up, confused, she smiled shyly and whispered that she was ready to build a family, ready to marry, ready to trust. Tears streamed down my face as I held her, realizing how far we had come from the broken pieces we once were. I proposed a week later in the most honest, simple way, just the two of us sitting near the riverbank, sunlight shimmering across the water, our fingers intertwined. She said yes with tears that tasted like healing. And as we planned our little life, our small wedding, our future home, our baby's name, I understood that some beginnings are born from endings and some love stories are rebuilt from ashes into something sturdier than steel. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share and subscribe to Touch of Kindness. Your support keeps these emotional stories alive. Special request: comment, "I believe in second chances" if this story moved you.